Started. Today we're going to be talking about creative fall decorating, and so I got a ton of stuff to show you. So I'm going to try and breeze through some of it pretty quickly, but I got a lot to show you, and I will do a couple demonstrations as well. Maybe we'll fake a plant up container. I'll do some tablescapes. I'll show you some different ideas, but really just kind of want to get your juices flowing. It's the first day of fall. So it's a great time to think about how to create that fall look in and around your home. And we've got ideas for inside and outside. It's one of my favorite times of year because there's so many different colors to choose from. The palette is great, and it's a very easy palette to use. Plus, what I think is probably the most fun about creative fall decorating, or about decorating in the fall, is it's pretty simple. I mean, it's pretty fail-proof. Like, you really can just kind of throw a bunch of pumpkins on a table and you've created something amazing. And we've got a huge selection of pumpkins and gourds and different things. So we've got a lot to show you today and a lot to get through. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. First, what I want to do is start on the indoor area. So I'm going to kind of move some things around. But the indoor space is one of my favorite places to decorate for the fall, and one of my go-to tried and true plants is a croton. And so when I talk about indoor decorating, of course I'm going to talk about plants first. So if you've ever grown indoor plants, it's a great time to add to your collection, but also there's ways to transform some of your everyday indoor plants into a fall decorating item. But one of my favorite plants is crotons, and there's a lot of them that we have in stock right now. This is the original right here. So this is our great looking croton. It's a really, really gorgeous plant. Look at all of those colors. And the reason I always kind of go to this plant is because it has all the fall colors in it. I mean, really, other than brown, which is actually a very good fall color, this really kind of encapsulates all those great colors. And so I always go back to a croton to look at the colors and kind of try and see if I can pull out some colors from there. And what you're going to see in this plant is you're going to see some greens, you're going to see some yellow for sure, you're going to see some orange, and even some of those pinks on the undertones of these leaves. You're going to see some great colors. And so crotons, really, to me, it's one of my favorite plants to kind of get in the late spring, early summer time frame, because not only does it work for fall, but it works for your tropical colors as well. So if you're looking for a tropical looking plant, this kind of embodies that as well, but the palette is perfect going into the fall season. And these can stay on your front porch. So I'm going to talk about them first being used indoors, but when you're doing them outside on a front porch, man, they just really draw your eye. They add a ton of color. And we have a great selection right now of all the different types of crotons. So this one is called our Petra. So this is Croton Petra, one of kind of the original forms, the one that you're probably most used to. This is in a 3-gallon pot, or what we would call an 8 or 10-inch pot, and it's $24.99. So it's a great looking plant, and you can just pop this in a nice ceramic pot or a terracotta pot. I love terracotta. We're going to talk about terracotta a lot. It's one of my kind of go-to colors for indoor planters. So terracotta, of course, we all know, and I love to collect these just because they're so easy to use and you can use them in and around the home. I love them outside, I love them inside. They're super economical too, and so they just really kind of embody that classic fall look. So crotons are awesome. You can pop this in a terracotta pot. You can pop it into any kind of pot that you want, or you can go with this true fall colors. You can get a red or an orange or a yellow container. Any of those are going to work great. Even just a pure white container would look great. But this is Croton Petra, and then we've got a lot of different ones in too. So this one's really cool. I'll show you this one. This one's called Gold Dust. So Croton Gold Dust. You can see just those little yellow specks all over the leaves. Looks really cool. If you didn't know this plant, you might think it might have a disease, but it's actually gorgeous. It's a variegated, just gold and green. So if you really like those yellow tones, or maybe you're pairing it with an orange plant, this is a great one because you can start to kind of pull that palette together. So that's a really nice one. Let's see, this one's kind of fun and unusual. This one's called Picasso. So this one's very fine, very thread-leafed. So you can see all these tiny little thin leaves in here. But again, all of those colors. You get the oranges, the pinks, the greens, and the yellows all mixed in there. Really pretty. And then these will all start to come together and create this really cool group. I think I've got a couple other ones. Oh, yep, here we go. So this one is cool. This one's called Magnificent, Croton Magnificent. So instead of having the line variegations with this croton, this one's got more of a splash of color. So again, you can see all of those different colors. Really cool plants. The yellows, the oranges, the pinks, Just a lot of different colors in there, and just a huge collection of different ones. I think I had another one. I've got a ton of stuff down here, so I'm going to be constantly kind of going down and getting some things. Yeah, here it is. So this one is called Mammy. So this one's Croton Mammy, and this one's got the curly leaves. So you can see those long kind of strap-like leaves, but then they start to kind of curl and almost spin. So again, really cool, lots and lots of different textures and look great in a terracotta pot. And here's another one that's bigger, and it's got even more contortion and more spiral in the leaves. Really cool one. That one's actually fairly new, I believe. Let's see if I can get the name on that one. I just slipped it in here into the pot so you can see the name. It's called Curly Boy. So this one's called Croton Curly Boy, and look at that. I mean, that's $24.99, and that is a huge plant. You can add that, and you've got some great fall colors and a great look and a great addition to your indoor collection. Now, as I mentioned, you can grow these outside. I'll talk about them again when we get to the outside portion. But I love using Crotons to kind of help kind of develop that color palette. It's really a great way of doing it. And as I mentioned, pairing them. So maybe you have a Croton that you love. Let's go with this guy right here. Let's do this curly one here. And you can pair it with a Cal and Chloe. Whoop, lost my pot. So Cal and Chloe, or Calancho, a lot of people call them Calancho. Potato, doesn't matter what you want to call them. But pairing them with other indoor plants is a great option and a great way to add fall color to your decor, to your indoor areas. Really easy to grow. And of course, when you're growing these, you would want them in bright, indirect light. But during the fall season, if you want to pop them into a closer area, I love to move plants around my home. So if I've got company coming over, I'm having a dinner, or I just want to decorate for a week or so, I might pop a plant in there, even though it might not be getting the exact light that it needs. It's a great way to kind of add some color and some texture and some different looks. You could plant these together, you could pair them. So one of my favorite things to do is just slip plants into containers. So use this more as a pot cover if you want, or even your saucer is really what you're using it for. But it kind of protects and shows or hides that plastic grower pot. And so this one's got the red, and it's got some orange in there and the stripes. And then with that yellow Cal and Chloe, Calancho, then you create this great little fall look. Really easy to do. So they're awesome. Calancho is a very easy plant to grow. Bromeliads are also a great indoor plant. So check out this bromeliad. So this one's really different. It's got those kind of fall colors. Bromeliads work for the tropical look, but also transfer right into the fall season. This one's called Vogue. Really nice. So it's got that maroon color, which is a great fall color with the yellow tips. And then just taking a little color, so I always do this a lot when I'm making combinations, and I do a lot when I'm decorating, is I look for the small colors and I try and pull them out in a bigger way. And so on this bromeliad, you've got these little yellow tips, and so then I paired it with this yellow pot, and it really pulls that yellow color out because you can just see it a whole lot more because you're pairing it with something that's big and bold in that same color. So just by doing something like that is a great option. Now, you probably have a lot of indoor plants. Hopefully you do. They're so fun to collect and grow and do different things with around your home, as I have mentioned. But this is just another way of adding some fall look to your indoor plants. So let me move some of this stuff out of the way here, so maybe you can see a little bit better. But this is just a regular rubber plant. This is actually a variegated one. So this one's called Tanique. So this is ficus, which is also, some people call it a rubber plant because it almost looks like it's rubber. Usually the ones you're going to see are more in the burgundy color, the maroon, the very dark green. But this one's a really pretty variegated one. But let's say you've just got an all-purpose just kind of plant like this, and you want to dress it up for the fall season. Of course, you could add, ribbon or something like that to it. Put a little straw in it. But what I love to do is use pumpkins and gourds. Gourds and pumpkins are so easy to use. I've got a huge pile of them down here. So I'm going to pull just a few out. And you can add these just around the pot. So you can just put them right around the base of a planter. So, you just got this, modern white container. And then just by adding some pumpkins around the base, you create that great fall look. You can also take some of your smaller little pumpkins. So these are great. And you can just pop them in and around the planter. So you can just kind of start to fill up that planter. You can do this with a lot of different plants too. Just kind of almost like you're mulching the top of your plant with some pumpkins. And these pumpkins are super hardcore. They seem to last forever, it seems like. but just by filling up that space around your plant, you can just put all these pumpkins in there. Now you can do it with you know, plastic pumpkins, but I love the real thing. There's nothing better than the real thing. You could throw a couple gourds in there, and that's just kind of a way of dressing off the top of your plant. And then when you go to water, you just take them out, and then we can just water our plant. So it's real easy to do. So you can dress up some of your everyday indoor foliage that you have, and it's a great way to kind of add that fall color to your indoor display, your indoor looks. So of course, plants are a great option for your indoor displays. I'm going to make a tablescape here in a minute so you can kind of get the idea how that might work. Love terracotta, but you can use nice ceramic pots too. We've got a great collection of indoor ceramic pots. You know, here's a really pretty orange one that you could pop a little plant into. So look, we could take this little Cal and Chloe and pop it in there. And look, you've got this great fall look. Very, very simple and very, very easy to do. Great gift ideas as well. And man, do we have a ton of those as well. And these are great for yourself, but also to give to gifts, or give as gifts when you go to somebody's house for, you know, a fall dinner. Maybe you're going out to roast marshmallows or something, or just hang out enjoying Halloween. So we've got a lot of great fall events that lead all the way to Thanksgiving. So we've got a good 2 months of time to give these gifts, and we've got some great ones. This comes in a nice little pumpkin styled planter, but then it's got the Cal and Chloe and the Croton in there, decorated with some moss. So this is a finished planter that you can come in and pick up and give as a gift, or just use around your home just to add a little bit of that fall decor. And we've got a lot of different styles too. So this one's a great one right here. This one's just got a little fall pick. And once the fall season's over, you can take this out. We could take this Spanish moss out if we wanted to, dress it up with a little greener. We could split out some of these plants if we wanted to. But it's a great little gift idea and a great way to add some of that fall cheer to a windowsill, to your dining table, anywhere around your home is a great option. We just got these in as well. Just wanted to show this off. Terrarium. This is actually a glass pumpkin terrarium. So it's got all these great little plants in there. It's got rock. It's got some orange moss in there, and it's got a couple other small little plants, some pilea. Really, really cool little planter. And you can put this on a coffee table, on your dining room table, on a side table, sideboard, or something like that. And it's just a great little talking piece that people are always going to say, where did you get that? It's just a great little option. You can open it up so people can see in. You can put your little pumpkin top off to the side. It's just a great little option. And another great gift. Another thing that I like to do around the home is look for different areas around the home that you can use to decorate and spruce up. So one option is, of course, the bathroom. And we carry these great soaps, lots and lots of scents. This one's Sweet Pumpkin. So you got these nice looking, highly decorative soaps that have these great fragrances. Pair it with some napkins that people can throw away. So if you're having a nice dinner party, these are great. Or you can, of course, just use a regular, this is a dish towel, but you could also use it in the bathroom, of course, for a hand towel. So we could pair these with some soaps in the bathroom, put a little candle in there, and you get that fragrance, maybe a little pumpkin off to the side, and it's a great little set that you can do. Great gift idea, but also a great way to decorate some of those smaller spots in and around your home. You know, the bathroom tends to get forgot about a lot, but definitely if you're having guests over, then you're going to want to spruce that up a little bit. And by adding some pumpkins and some soaps and some nice napkins really adds to that decor. So let's see, tablescapes. Tablescapes are one of my favorite things to do. So let's create a tablescape so you can kind of see how that might work. I'm going to try and clear out some of the space so you can see it. So give me a second to do that. Move this planter off. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Let me clean off my area. So one of the first things that I always do when I create a tablescape is I like to get kind of my base down. So I need something to kind of cover the table. And now tablescapes you can do anywhere. You think about them running down the middle of a dining room table, but you can also do it on a sideboard, on a table in your hallway. You can do it on a coffee table. You can do it anywhere. You can do it on just your regular kitchen table if you wanted to. But I always like to use a garland. Now some people will use a wreath. Wreaths are a great option. So this is just an artificial wreath. I could put that on a table and I could build off of that real easily. Using picks is a great option. So we've got some great fall picks, really, really nice, easy color. And so all I have to do is have this wreath in the center. I can put these two picks on the side like this. And then I can put a planter in the center. I could put a big pumpkin. I could put a couple different things. So, I mean, just look, this is a little bit bigger, but so you can see. And there you go. It's pretty easy. You could add some fairy lights to it. You could add a lot of different things to it, but that's just one option. But really what I like to do is use garland if I can, because garland gives us a little bit more options, and it can also create a longer look too, which really goes all the way down the table. And I typically like to try and guide the eye. You know, the centerpiece is still the centerpiece, but having a tablescape that guides the eye really helps you see the whole thing. It keeps it interesting too. And it gives everybody the option to see so many different things. This is a eucalyptus. And so what I'm doing is I'm unwrapping the battery pack, because these actually have built-in lights. I love eucalyptus garland because it's so versatile. It goes from season to season. You can use it year-round, really. I mean, it works in the spring, it works in the winter, works during Christmas and fall. So, you know, that bluish kind of silvery color is just great. It's super popular right now when we're talking about indoor decorating. You know, a little tangled here. But I love garland because it's wired and I can shape it. So, and this one's got lights in it. So let's see if you can see that. So you just got a simple battery pack. You can work on a timer, but you can add your own lights with the fairy lights. They're really, really versatile. But what I'm going to do is just kind of get this somewhat straightened out as much as I can. And then we'll just run this down the table. And I like it to kind of pop up if I can. So if I can get it to kind of pop up like that, come back down, and then pop up again, and I'll hide this battery pack later. But this is a great way to just kind of add some dimension to your tablescape. It adds height, and creating some curved lines really, really helps. So continuing to have a curved path really, really sets the eye off. It's used a lot in landscape. You typically are always going to see some curvature in your bed lines in the landscape, and you're going to see a lot, of course, in interior design as well. But when we're setting this up, I like to have a little bit of curve, and if it can do that kind of up and down, well, we've got some space underneath, that's great. So then I usually go and I look for a centerpiece. So I need something to be in the center, and let's just look around and see what we got. We've got crotons, we've got peppers, we've got mums, we've got lots and lots of different things. But let's go with a planter. I think this is a great option. And the reason I kind of hone in on this is because this eucalyptus kind of has on us the silvery green, and then this container does as well. So we'll kind of hide this tag a little bit. I don't want to take it off. But just for purposes of this demonstration, we'll just kind of hide that a little bit. So now I've got a croton, I've got this great orange calancho and this great ceramic pumpkin looking pot. And so it's a really, really great kind of look. And then we can pop that right in the center. So now I've got my centerpiece. It's a little bit on the smaller side, but I'm going to add to this. So I'm going to really kind of keep adding to it. Now we've got lots and lots of picks, as I mentioned before. These don't really pair with it very well. It does pull the orange out of that calancho. But I think I'm going to use these cotton picks. So cotton really looks great in the fall season. I love picks because they're easy to use. You can kind of tuck them in there. You can wrap the garland around it. It's really, really easy, but they're all wired. And whenever anything is wired, it really allows you to kind of change the look and the style of it. So you can manipulate it. You can put some curve into it, but then we can just add this. And this is going to add a little bit of that white color to it, which is great. We're going to try and keep this a little bit more modern if we can. So I'm going to just add this in here. I'm going to bend it actually, just to get kind of with that same curvature of the garland. And then I've got this extra pick here. You can see the extra part of the pick. I'm just going to wrap that right into the garland so it kind of disappears. It looks more like a branch than anything. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. And then we'll put it right down. Now that I see the curve, we'll add some curve into it. And there's the curve. Try not to let it slip off your table. I'm doing it on the edge so that you can see it. Typically you'd be doing this down through the middle. And then we've got our battery pack that we're going to kind of wind back through here and just kind of put underneath. We can hide that later. All right, so now I really need some of that fall color, right? And there's a lot of different things you can do. I'm sure you all collect different types of fall decor that you pull out every year, and we definitely recommend coming in and checking them out. This is a great little pumpkin that we just got in. This is I believe it's resin most likely, but it's got this kind of cool little tassel on it, so it's kind of like that boho chic kind of look. We've got this kind of etched pumpkin, so again resin, so it's not real, but it kind of is that cool look. And these you can pull out every year and use them around your home and decorate all over the place with them. They're very, very easy to use. But I like to use the real thing if I can. So I'm going to add, let's pull out some of these gourds and pumpkins. I got a lot of them in here. So many different styles and shapes with these. I got this really, really big one here, which I think is really kind of funky and cool. And so we'll kind of put that in there. And this is where I try and push myself to not be so symmetrical. A lot of us do that. A lot of us put a big one here and we got to put a big one here. But sometimes it's fun just to play with it. So maybe since I've got a fairly good size one here, instead of doing the same thing, maybe I'll do a orange pumpkin over here. So this is my pie pumpkin. Pie pumpkins are awesome because they usually have this really nice long stem, which are really fun to decorate with. And then what I like to do here is just kind of let it happen. So I don't really kind of place it too much. I just kind of throw them in there. You can always go back and touch it up later and add more. Let's see if you can see all of this that I'm doing. And this is where you kind of, when they fall just kind of naturally and they just kind of land where they land, then you get a much better look because it looks more natural. It doesn't look like it's been placed and toyed with too much. And then we'll add these white pumpkins, which are great. It's really going to add some look to it. We'll put that there. And so there we go. We got kind of a good looking tablescape going. Let's see if there's anything else that I can think of that I might want to add. Let's see. I've got so much stuff down here. Got this really cool looking pumpkin right here. So great option. I don't know if you can see that one if I place it there. So maybe we'll put it right here. Now this is getting kind of big here, but this is looking really, really good. And this is all you really have to do. It's super, super easy. I do have this other garland that we could have used. So we've got fall, yellow leaved garland. You can find garland anywhere. And I think I saw a comment there earlier. Is that fresh or dried artificial material? So it's a mix. So my garland and my cotton are actually artificial, but all my pumpkins are real, and my planter that has these real plants in it are real. So it's a great way of adding kind of both. I love to use as much real as I possibly can, but with the garland, kind of my base, I like to go artificial because I can use it year after year. So it's a great way of kind of being able to, use the same thing year after year. And you're usually going to get a little bit of a better result, I think, with using some artificial in there, because you get that kind of look and you get different looks. I mean, having an actual dried eucalyptus garland, while not unreasonable, is not going to last that much or last that long for you. And so what I love about the artificial stuff too is that it has wire in it. And so I like to call it lifelike because it's very, very lifelike. But whenever you have anything that's wired on the inside, you can really play with it and manipulate it. So this is a great little look right here. Super, super easy. Just a great thing that you can do around your home is adding tablescapes in different areas. And like I mentioned earlier, just adding some pumpkins to a planter in the corner, add them in your bathroom, put them on your tables. Pumpkins are awesome. And of course, using decor is a great option as well. Let's see, did I have anything else? I think that was pretty much, oh, you know what I did forget about is the birds. I never forget about the birds, but using birding ideas inside your home is a great thing. We just got in these great collection of handmade birdhouses. These are artistic pieces in their own right, so just by themselves would be fine. Pair it with a little pumpkin off to the side and it looks great, but you could actually use this as your centerpiece. So we could take this planter out if we wanted to and pop in this birdhouse, and you get that great kind of rustic fall feel, and it's a little bit nicer looking. Now during Christmas time I could add lights to this and we could get a little bit more of a Christmas look out of it, but this is a great option, is using bird items. It's obviously not feeders typically, but a bird house inside your home looks really cool, especially if it's got this artistic look. And this one actually has a story behind it. These are made in Illinois by a small family that had a huge property for years and years and years, and lots of barns and stuff like that, and they're repurposing the wood. So it's a great kind of cool little story, a little speaking piece, but it looks great in a tablescape. Is where we're always trying to look for different textures. So I'm always looking for, wood or fabric or, smooth finishes or bright finishes, lots of different color if I can, as long as the tones all work together. So experiment. It's super, super easy. It's a lot of fun. If it doesn't work out for you, you can always break it apart and use them in different areas around your home. And then you can always take this and use it outside for the actual birds. It's a great option. All right, let me get this out of the way. And let me tear this apart real quick. It won't take a whole lot of time. We'll just take all these gourds and put them back into my bin down here. We will probably use them again. And then we're going to move outdoors. So now we're going to move to the outside areas around our home. Let me just get this out of the way. See, that's off the screen. So when we think about the outside, so many things come to mind. Of course, plants are going to be one of the first things that come to mind when we think about our outdoor areas. And I typically try and focus on where the eye of neighbors and where the eye of onlookers and people that are coming to your home to maybe enjoy a dinner or to enjoy an afternoon watching football as the season has started. Where are they coming to and what are they looking at? And they're typically looking at your front porch. So that's usually where I start. I mean, your beds are designed, your landscape is designed to kind of guide the eye to your front door to see your house number. If they've never been there before, they need to be able to locate your home. And so you want to kind of decorate there first. And there's a lot of different things that you can do. And of course, plants are one of the first things that come to my mind when decorating the front porch. But think about all of these different options. I'm just going to read you off of my list of things that I thought about this morning. Pumpkins, of course. Use pumpkins. Use them in mass. And of course, use them around in different areas. If you've got a big front porch or a back deck, using a pumpkin here and there, I always go to that carving pumpkin. It's huge, and it is the color of fall. So when you think about the fall season, you think about orange probably first. And so by just putting one on your front steps is fine, but by adding a lot of pumpkins to it, looks great. And of course, just putting one on a table or over in a corner in a bigger planter or something. And I'm going to show you a lot of these different techniques as we go along. But using pumpkins around is a great way of adding color and pops of color all around your front porch. In your landscape, you can do them all over the place. They're awesome. Ceramic pumpkins. So we actually have these really cool, let's see if I can find where I put them. Where did I put that guy? I had a big ceramic pumpkin. Ah, there it is. This is just the top. Now this one happens to be a jack-o'-lantern, but these are awesome because these you can use year after year. You can use these inside, but they look great outside on your front porch. Pair them with a carving pumpkin and you've got a great look. Of course, you're going to carve your pumpkins probably for Halloween, but during the regular, or during Halloween, this is a great option to pull out. You can add a candle to it, which is a great thing that you can do, which reminds me, let me show you. I didn't use this in my Tablescape. I did grab it, but Simplex candles are awesome, and I carry these year round. These are really, really cool. These are the virtual candles. So this is a real wax candle, but has this really cool flame to it. So you've seen probably a lot of virtual candles. I don't know if you can quite see this on camera. Probably not. It's a little too bright. But what's really cool about these candles is it doesn't work off of a fan, so you don't hear that fan noise all the time, which also can break. But it works off of magnets. So it's playing on that north and south pole magnetite. So it's always going to constantly move, and it's going to be variable. It's not going to have an exact movement all the time. But it's also a 360-degree wick, so you can see it all the way around. And let's see if I can put this here in my pumpkin. And then I don't have to worry about burning up my pumpkins or anything. So I know you can't quite see that on the screen, but at night, these would glow and look awesome. So a great way of using candles. Of course, inside, these are amazing, but you can also use them on a covered front porch if you wanted to. In a lantern, in a pumpkin, really, really versatile. Great candle to always have around. Great option. So let's see, what else do we have on my list? Of course, mums. Mums are kind of one of the great fall plants, and there's lots and lots of choices. So this is a mum. This is a burgundy colored mum, really, really pretty. This one's one of the few that I found that had a lot of blooms on it. And so these are great on front porches. Pop them in that terracotta pot, and you've got yourself a great look Super, super easy. And then start to pair it with pumpkins and different things. Really, really, really easy. So mums on your steps. It depends on how many steps you have. Let's say you have a lot of steps on your front porch, then it's a great option to be able to do some mums, some pumpkins, break it up, and also do them in mass. You know, a mass is super easy when you just put a couple mums together and then add pumpkins to it. Really, really great, easy way, and it's fail-proof. I mean, you really can't mess it up. You just add them all together. Super, super easy. But mums are one of my favorite fall plants. We just did a whole series on them a couple weeks ago on a webinar talking about how you can plant them, how you can grow them. They're actually great perennials, but they can also just work as an annual. If you want to pop them in a hanging basket, if you want to put them in a container, just use them on your front porch. They're super, super easy. Just keep them watered during these warm days and during the cool days if they're drying out. But other than that, they're super easy. Then you can plant them when the season's done if you want to, and they'll come back each year for you. But mums are a great plant to use. Clay pots I've mentioned. Clay pots are really, really great on the front porch. Very easy way to decorate for the fall. And I like to group them. So hopefully here in a minute I can kind of start to build my kind of front porch display. And I've got a lot of big terracotta pots. And so using terracotta in groups of 3, and they can be different styles. I always like to do groups of 3, groups of 5 if I can. You're always trying to pair things in odds. Odd numbers are more appealing to the eye. So we're always trying to do things in odds. Usually if I'm making a container, I'm trying to put 3 different plants in it so that you can kind of see that odd number really, really speaks to the eye a little bit better when we're using odd numbers. But terracotta grouped, they can be different styles and shapes too. So it doesn't all have to be the exact same cookie cutter, you know, clay terracotta pot. This one's actually more of a bell shape. So it's got a little bit of a curve to the bottom. So using a lot of different types of terracotta. I also like to take my terracotta and put them in a shady kind of dark space during the spring or summer season. I always have a lot laying around so that it can kind of age. You can whitewash them, which is really easy to do, but I let moss just naturally grow on them. So if you put them in a shady dark spot, they maybe get some moisture, which typically is going to happen in this area. So you can put them underneath like a deck. You can put them back in a wooded area, and they're going to get kind of a natural kind of green to them. And then that is going to be really, really pretty when you use an aged terracotta pot. Really easy to do. Let's see. Do you sell spider mums and football mums? So we do sell a couple different types of mums, and those are going to be more of the florist mums. Great question, Deborah. So we do carry lots of different ones. This one's a Pele mum. The spider mums we don't typically see as much, but the football mums are very similar. I think they're more of the quill mum, but the quill mums and the football mums we should get in here in a little bit. But yes, we do carry other florist types of mums. So when you're looking at your typical garden mum, you'll see the difference here. The garden mum is more of just your chrysanthemum flower, whereas your Pele mum is more designed for having different colors. This is a little bit more of your kind of native species of mum that's crossed with your native. These are the garden ones. These will come back year after year. Some of your florist mums will come back if you plant them, but typically we recommend growing them inside and using them for the fall decorations. And then if you plant them outside, if they come back, they typically aren't going to look quite as amazing as that does. But yes, we do carry lots and lots of different types of mums. They're awesome to use around the home. And let's see, what else did I have on my list of things to use? Of course, ceramic planters. If you've got ceramic planters that you're already constantly using, like let's say blues. Blues are really, really popular. So the blue planters you can of course use. Blue is not a kind of known fall color, but it looks great with grasses paired with pumpkins. You kind of get that coastal fall look. So blue is a great option. Of course, we've got lots of red and maroon and orange and yellow planters as well. Ceramic planters, of course, are going to last a little bit longer than your terracotta. The best thing that you can do with terracotta is protect it from those hard freezes. So when we get really, really cold, you don't want a lot of moisture in the terracotta. And so typically we want to let it get a little bit drier or keep them up on concrete if we can during the winter season. That'll prevent them from cracking. But your ceramic planters are a little bit hard, a little bit stronger, and will make it through that season a little bit better. Hanging baskets, I mentioned, if you got a front porch, pop some mums in there. Pansies, we did get some pansies in, so we're starting to kind of get ready for that season. Let's see if I can find some here. So we got pansies in. Pansies look great in hanging baskets, of course in containers by themselves, and in the landscape you can get some really pretty fall colored ones. This is an orange one, kind of just reminds me of a fall, but orange actually translates really well into the winter season as well. When we think about Christmas season, oranges work really, really well as well in that season. So pansies are a great option. Crotons. Remember I said I was going to come back to crotons? Crotons work great on the front porch. So you can use crotons on the front porch. You want to keep them in a little bit of a shadier location. We don't want them in full blazing sun all day because we can still get some pretty warm days here in the fall season. But crotons are a great option. Once the temperatures start to get below 50 at night, then we want to start pulling them back in and get them into the inside areas around our home so that we can protect them from those cold nights. They definitely aren't going to like that as much. They are tropical plants, so we want to bring those in once the nighttime temperatures get below 50. So crotons are a great option. Grasses, love grasses. So you can see this big grass right here. This is Miscanthus adagio. Love the tassels on grasses. So a great option is if you were thinking about planting some grasses, maybe get a couple and then put them in some containers, some terracotta planters, and then use them up on your porch and then go plant them around your landscape. We're going to talk a lot about planting here at the end when I get to the end. Let's see, what else do I have? Corn stalks. So corn stalks are one of my favorite things. We do sell a front porch package that we're kind of trying to develop right now, so we get that out to you soon. But porch packages are easy to do, and corn stalks are kind of like the staple of that. So let me show you if I can get this without knocking everything over. Because they are big. But a corn stalk is awesome. So you can't quite see the whole thing, but this is a huge, about 8-foot tall corn stalk. Awesome, awesome thing to use on the front porch. They're so big and thick that you could actually cut these open and divide them into two if you wanted to, or just buy two. They're awesome on their own. You don't have to mess with it. But what I do want to show you is a great little trick here that I learned, which is most of your corn stalks are going to come with some corn on them. So they're dried up corn. You're not going to eat them. Sometimes the squirrels might get into them a little bit. But what I like to do is open them up. So you can see that right there. So that what it does is add some great color. So just by taking this corn stalk, finding some of these old dried up pieces of corn in here, and then just opening it up so that you can see it, really shows up great. So you can see those starting to show up there on your screen. So I'll just open all these up here that I can see at least in the front. But a lot of people don't realize that there's corn in there. So look, just by opening those up, you can see this great color. A lot of times too, what I'll do is I'll use some of these, dried up leaves, so we can break off some of these leaves. And you can use these in planters and stuff to rest pumpkins on. I'll show you a little bit of that here in a little bit, but this is a great option. So use the whole thing. Definitely show your corn off. If the corn breaks, which sometimes happens, so sometimes this will fall out. This is a great little decorative piece that you can use. I love the filaments there, the threads. But this is a great thing that you can put on a bale of wheat straw with your mums. Adds a lot of color, that fall color. It's great. And then of course, the squirrels will probably eat it eventually, or you can feed it to the squirrels later in the season. But that's a great option right there. Just ways of using the whole corn stalk. Really, really easy to do. Something that you can do on your front porch super, super easily. Of course, we want to dress up our front door, so having a nice wreath is a great option on your front porch as well. We talked about the wheat straw. Take a bale of wheat straw. It's not super expensive. You can actually add it to your compost pile later, or you can actually grow in it. There's ways of growing in a wheat straw bale. But take a bale of wheat straw, put it up by your front door, add a corn stalk, a pumpkin, some mums, some pansies, some terracotta planters, gourds. Break off some of the corn from the corn stalk and add that to the area, and you get this great look right on your front porch. It's super, super easy. We will have those porch packages available for you pretty soon. Let's see. How do you keep it from mildew? So, Deborah, you're probably talking about the corn stalk. They should stay dry. So if you've got a covered porch, you're going to get a little bit more longevity out of them. If they do get wet, they should dry out pretty well. Put them in a sunny spot, let them dry out. But yes, they can get natural, kind of a little bit of build-up mildew. They're not going to last forever, so corn stalks are going to be a little bit short-lived, but they should last you almost all the way till Thanksgiving. So you should get a good 2 to 3 months out of them. Sometimes what happens too is the center will get a lot of moisture in it, so by breaking them up helps. So a lot of people will undo these and take each individual corn stalk and just kind of put them out, and that helps them dry out a little bit better. So hopefully that helps with a couple of those options. Mildew can happen a lot in the fall. It's typically when we get more rain, we're getting cooler nighttime temperatures. A lot of people have issues with mildew on their pumpkins. A great tip there is just take a little bit of bleach and water, usually a 1-part bleach to a 10-part water mix, and then just wipe it on, use a rag to just kind of wipe it on your pumpkins, and that kind of gets anything that's going to help biodegrade and mildew that pumpkin out a little bit faster, kind of helps sterilize it a little bit. So that's a great option there for you to control the mildew and the mold on your pumpkins. With the corn stalks, you just want to let them dry out as much as you possibly can. Pansies, we mentioned. Flags. Of course, flags are a great way to add some decor to your front porch and to your front yard. So you got lots and lots of great flag options. These are just some smaller garden flags. You can get your larger flags. Flags are a great way to add texture too. Remember, I keep mentioning texture. So we're looking for different shades of colors, but also textures. By having some fabric out there, you get that different texture. So add a new flag to your collection. And then of course, as I mentioned earlier, the birdhouse. Birdhouses are great on a front porch to add to your group and to kind of create that fall look. I love birdhouses just sitting on a front porch. I use them a lot of times in containers, like the small cocoa nests. I'll use a lot of those in containers because they look cool and they're kind of just a different look and a different texture. Again, that texture thing. Let's see. So look at your tired containers around your home. This is a great option. So I couldn't find one, unfortunately, but I'll show you an example. Take this container right here. So we've got this great container. It's got pansies, it's got the ornamental peppers, which we have a great collection of ornamental peppers. I'm going to start going through all my plants here in a minute. But this is a nice looking container. Let's say you have a container like this that you want to kind of spruce up a little bit, or maybe you had a petunia in it that is starting to fizzle out, a begonia or something like that, but you don't really want to plant anything. You want to just pop something in there for some color. Then go back to your gourds and your pumpkins again. See if I can find something that I want. So this is a little white one, so we can pop that right into the planter, and it's super, super easy to use. If you're worried about it sitting on the moisture, as I mentioned, take some of your corn here. So take some of these longer pieces of your corn stalk, and it kind of creates that straw look. You can kind of cut it up into a bunch of different pieces, and then you can place that right there, put your pumpkin on top, and you've got this great little look. Super, super easy. Great way to fill holes is using pumpkins. I love to use them all around the home. As I mentioned in the landscape, if you put them in the landscape, get them up off that ground using pine straw, a little bit of your corn stalk, even just a little bit of mulch is good. You can take a pot if you want to and turn it upside down and put your pumpkins on that. But use your pumpkins around your landscape. It's a great way of adding that orange fall color. It's really, really a great option, but also putting them in containers is a great choice. Let's see, feed the birds. So a great fall time activity. We want to also talk about fall time activities. Feed your birds. We really should be feeding our birds year-round if you want to keep them in your area. A lot of people say don't feed the birds in the summertime because they're meant to be eating the insects, the bad insects in your trees, but they won't visit your yard. They won't frequent your yard as much if you don't have a treat for them. And so bird food really is more of a treat than it is what's actually sustaining them. So by giving them some food in the winter time, when it's hard for them to get to their food source, then yes, we might actually be keeping them going through the winter season. But during the spring, summer, and into the fall, it's a great time to encourage those birds into your yard. And it's a great activity for the whole family. Put a bird feeder out, fill it up with some great good seed, and you'll get lots and lots of action, and it's something fun that you can do whether you're sitting out on the back deck or enjoying it from a window inside your home. So feed the birds, it's a great option. Festival lights, light up your spaces. It's a great time to think about lighting up your yard. Fall is when we start to really get a little bit more active back out into the yard. We start taking walks as the cool season starts to come upon us. So walk around your yard and think about some of the areas that you like to enjoy at nighttime, but you don't because there's not a lot of light. Use solar lights, spotlights, lots and lots of different options for light, but I love the festival lights. I'm going to show you these. Festival lights, Edison lights. These are really, really nice. This is the Dublin series of string lights. So this is like your heavy duty outdoor commercial lights. These are awesome. You can get these in incandescent or LED. They're great options and they're really, really cool looking. And it's been very, very popular for some time now. And I don't see that going away. So by putting these over your front porch or even a back deck, out in your trees, span these across the yard, it's a great option to be able to add that kind of fall look and add some light to your garden. We really want to encourage people to go outside and enjoy the outdoor time during this fall season. And by adding light, it gives you a little bit more time to be outside in the yard. Fire pits. Fire pits are a great option. Fire pits, you know, we think of, I was just taking a walk the other day when we had kind of a cool night and somebody was having a fire, probably in a fire pit, and it just kind of makes you think of the fall season when you smell some wood burning and enjoying the fire pit with friends and family. It's a great time to be outside as we get those cool nights. Then that fire is really, really warm. Have a couple drinks, roast some marshmallows. It's a lot of fun for the whole family. And it's a great thing to think about in your landscape too. Where am I going to put a fire pit? Can I create a little seating area? So lots and lots of great options. We've got a great collection. Of course, fire pits are a little bit bigger. I didn't want to bring it in here. But we've got a great collection of fire pits that actually have scenes kind of in the edge around them. So it's a really, really cool way of adding a look to your yard, but also something that you can enjoy with your family and your friends. What about mice and rats coming after the seed? So Carrie, great question. So if you're using bird seed, I'm assuming that's what you're asking about, is the bird seed portion of feeding the birds. You can, of course, scatter it around the yard, but getting a good quality bird feeder is a great option to be able to keep it away from rats and mice. Number one is store it in your home or in a sealed container that they can't get into. But when you're feeding the birds, put them in a squirrel-proof feeder because it's also going to keep the rats and the mice away. Really, really great option. But so get yourself a nice, good feeder. Your platform feeders, your regular hopper feeders are all going to be kind of exposed to a lot of wildlife. I mean, I definitely have raccoons, possums, squirrels galore, and they are diligent animals, so that they keep coming after it. But if you get yourself a good quality feeder, I love the Squirrel Busters. I haven't been able to get the Squirrel Busters in stock this year because it's been a tough year to get some items in stock. But we've got the Droll Yankee series, which is great. We've got a lot of hopper feeders that have the closure to them, and we've got a lot of squirrel-proof feeders. But if you get yourself, Carrie, a good squirrel-proof feeder, you won't have many issues with the other wildlife that you're not trying to feed. So great question. We've got lots and lots of great feeders that you can choose from. Let's see. Oh, so when we're talking about, you know, enjoying the backyard, we talked about fire pits, adding light to the yard. Also think about your outdoor options that you might be sitting around. So if you've got like that bright lime green umbrella, maybe getting a red or a yellow or an orange umbrella. We've got a great selection of umbrellas. Outdoor pillows. Outdoor pillows really add a lot of color. You can get orange outdoor pillows, you can get yellow, you can get different fall tones, and it's a great way to just add a lot of color to your outdoor areas. Even if you just have a bench on your front porch, throw an orange pillow on it and it really speaks to that fall color. I hung a feeder off an awning and woke up one night to a rat crawling on my window. So Carrie, then what I would do is move the feeder for one. If you're hanging it from an awning around your home, maybe see if you got a small tree that you can hang it from. You can also get a shepherd's hook and kind of get it back in your yard a little bit so it keeps the rats and the mice away from your house. And so that's probably one good option is don't hang it from your home. If that's really, really where you want it, you might try in the summer next year a hummingbird feeder. Hummingbird feeders are more just kind of a sugar water kind of substance and probably won't attract as many rats and mice, but that seed definitely will. So putting it on something that they can't get to or putting it up in a tree that's a little bit more away from your home, I think will help a lot too there. Let's see. So we talked about new umbrellas, we talked about outdoor pillows, and then of course, plant new plants. So this is going to be my last thing before I kind of decorate a fall porch area, is plant a lot of different things. It's a great time to be on the yard. It is the #1 time to plant new plants in your yard and landscape. So when we start talking about grasses, let me start going through some of these plants here. Let me move this container off. So I think a lot about perennials and shrubs when we get into the fall season. And so of course, that grass that I mentioned earlier, grasses are amazing in the landscape, super, super easy. Mums are a great option. But let's see what else we got. Let me move this. I don't want to move this too far away because I still want to use that. But let's talk about all the different types of plants that you can use. One of my favorites is a fall blooming camellia. So there's not a lot of things that bloom in the fall season. Encore azaleas are a great option, but fall blooming camellias are a great one. This one's called Bonanza. There's also one called Shishigashira, but you can see that bloom right in there. And these are great options. They're evergreen, they bloom in the fall season. They're very versatile compared to a normal spring blooming camellia. So your typical spring blooming camellias are going to bloom in the February to April time frame, maybe even a little bit into May. But they're usually larger leafed, big blooms, but you don't get as many. With your fall blooming camellias, you get a ton of small blooms. Very, very easy to grow. This one actually grows a little bit more compact, so it gets about 3 to 4 feet tall by about 3 to 4 feet wide, so it's a nice kind of shrub. There's some other ones like the Autumn Rocket that has a white bloom, or the Yuletide that has a red bloom, and they grow a little bit more upright, calmer. Great in containers, but also in the landscape as framing plants, a small hedgerow. They're super, super easy. You can grow these in sun or shade. Whereas the spring blooming camellias typically like a little bit of shade. So with a fall blooming camellia, you can use them pretty much anywhere in the yard. Super, super easy, and lots of different colors and lots of different options as far as sizes go as well. So check out your fall blooming camellias. As I was mentioning, fall is a great time to plant around the yard because this is when root systems develop. So you're typically not going to get a lot of top growth. That's okay. We want to develop a root system, and what happens in the fall is all of that energy, all that food that they've been producing all year goes down into the root system and explodes the root system. What also occurs is by the time summer hits, then we have a really well-established plant. And so that's typically when most plants struggle in this area, is during the summer season. Maybe we don't water enough, maybe we water too much, but summer is just a stressful time for plants. And by planting in the fall, you're actually going to get a longer season before summer hits. That's why we do fescue lawns in the fall season, because it gives us the longest amount of time to get a root system going. Let's see. Mine is fuchsia, like pink. So Carrie, you probably have the Shishigashira. Shishigashira is more on the pink side, whereas Bonanza is a little bit more on the red side. So I know it's kind of probably showing a little bit of pink, but it's more on the truer red to rose red color, whereas the Shishigashira is pink. But they are awesome. Lots and lots of colors, lots of choices to choose from. Typically in your whites, your pinks, and your darker pinks, and then of course your reds that you're going to get lots and lots of colors from your fall blooming camellias, and super easy to grow. Plant some grasses. Look around your landscape. It's also an easier time to work in the yard because it's not as hot. So not only is it better for the plants, but it's also a great time for you to work in the yard. There's so many different choices to choose from. I love the fall blooming, or sorry, the perennial plants that you can get in the fall season. One of my all-time favorites is Heuchera, or coral bells. This is just an absolutely stunning one. Probably not doing it much justice on the camera there, but it almost has a glossy appearance to it. Super, super easy to grow. I'm having a little bit of a tough time growing these in my yard because I do have deer, and the deer will nibble on them. Now, once they're established, they typically don't mess with them too much, but these are awesome. Do we have tulip bulbs? Yes, we do. We just got them in. So we've got plenty of tulips and daffodils and muscari. You can come and check those out. We definitely have those in. These are awesome. Heucheras are great. I love them in containers. So planting up a fall blooming container, or a fall container, this is a great option, but also in the landscape. Plant these in masses, 5, 7 of them in a big mass. They're gorgeous. They're almost evergreen year-round. They're very, very easy to grow. They do require a little bit of shade, so you don't want them to burn up in that summer heat, but they're really, really easy to grow, and you'll get these little flower bloom spikes. This one's actually fizzling off and kind of going away. Once they do, you just go in and pick them out. But I just love that foliage, and they're pretty much evergreen in this area. So love those. I love this Carex. This is Everillo Carex. There's also an Ogon, I can't remember what, Ocorus, Ocorus Ogon, or this one is called Carex Everillo. But I love this kind of drapey habit, really, really easy to use, and I love that chartreuse color in the fall season. It's a great option. Let's see what else we got. Pansies. Lots and lots of pansies. Swiss chard. Love Swiss chard because you get that really pretty color on the stems paired with a pansy. Really, really easy and lots of fun to use. Let's see, what else do I have? You'll also get some finds out there. So look at this guy. So this is a Rudbeckia, I believe. Yep, Rudbeckia. This is called Denver Daisy. And just look at that color, just amazing. So sometimes you'll find some really cool looking plants, or some plants that you didn't think about in the fall season. It's a great time to get them. This one's going to bloom obviously a little bit more in the summer, but it'll be great for the fall color as they continue to bloom all the way through summer into fall. Rudbeckias are awesome. Black-eyed Susan. Same plant, really cool. The ornamental peppers, man, there's a great selection of these. Ornamental peppers are so easy to grow. You don't want to eat them. You can. You're not going to, get hurt by them. But they're usually a very, very spicy and not like a tasty spicy, kind of like a gross spicy. So they're really grown for their ornamental value. There's lots and lots of different colors. They're the yellows. So I got some yellow ones. I've got these longer kind of orange ones, and I love how they go through the transition. They come out more green. Then as we start to get these cooler temperatures and the shorter days, you'll get more of the orange in there. So a really, really pretty one right there. So get the dark purple. Look at that. That's almost black. It's like super, super dark purple. Lots and lots of choices for ornamental peppers. And then, of course, containers. So we're going to talk about using containers too. This is a really cool one. This one's got a lemon cypress in it, and it's got these small little ball-like peppers in it. It's got the creeping Jenny that's hanging off the side. So whenever we talk about creating a container, these are kind of the elements we're looking for. We're looking for an upright, a thriller, then we're looking for a filler, which would be this pepper, and there's also an ornamental kale in there. And then your spiller is going to be this creeping Jenny, which is great. So this is a great looking container in this nice little black urn plastic pot, but these are great up on the front porch. Okay, so now what I want to do, I'm going to talk about some pumpkins. I'm going to do a little bit of decorating here so you can just see this, just kind of wrap everything up, all of these different things together, and we'll just make a nice, great looking display here real quick that you can do on your front porch, you can do on your back deck, anywhere. So let me just start clearing some of this stuff off. We'll just create this big display. All right. Now, of course, I usually start with terracotta. Terracotta pots are very, very easy to use. So that's going to be the first thing that I'm going to try and do is get my terracotta pots out. All right, so we've got a lot of different styles, as I mentioned earlier. Lots and lots of different styles of terracotta pots. We've got like this bell-shaped. This is actually called a mum pot. Mum pots are typically a little bit wider on the top and a little bit lower. They don't need as much of a deep root system, but mum pots are really cool because you can do a lot of different things in them. I love to use these when I'm planting bulbs and pansies together because it's a little bit shallower. I don't need as much depth, so it's a great option there. But using different sizes and different shapes is a great way to add to your fall look. So let's see, I think I got one more big one here I gotta get out. All right. So what I like to do is odds. So I'm gonna get these three containers together and just kind of position them so that you can see them for one. And you can group these a lot of different ways, but I got three different sizes here. So I've got this great, tall, big planter. I've got this smaller one, and I've got a medium. So I've got three different sizes, different heights. So we're playing with height, we're playing with style and look, because I've got more of a mum pot, I've got this curved pot, and I've got your standard clay pot. What I love about clay, super affordable, very easy to use. Let's see, I missed a question. So Carrie said, do you need to deadhead the peppers? Not really, because the peppers are going to start to fizzle. They're going to last all the way until we have a hard frost. So that's usually around mid-November, towards the end of November. The blooms are going to turn into more peppers, so you really don't have to deadhead. If one starts to kind of get a little yucky looking on you, then you can just pop it off. It won't hurt it at all. But very, very easy to use. So we've got our terracotta. Let's see, I've got these positioned good. And we'll put our pumpkin here in the front, off to the side a little bit. Another great option is just putting a single plant in a container. So let's start with this mum and get it in a container here that fits it. So there we go. And you can just drop them in just like that. If you plant them, it's going to last a little bit longer, but if you just drop them in, that's perfectly fine. I'm not actually going to plant anything up to kind of save some time, but I will position some plants in here so you can see how to use different types of plants. One of my favorite ones is this lemon cypress that's here in this plant. So I'm going to use this guy, the lemon cypress, in here. So instead of planting, I'm just going to stage it in there, which means I need my bricks. Got a couple bricks here, and this is a great way of doing this. if you don't want to plant it all up, maybe you're just doing it for a quick look, is just get some bricks just to help kind of rise it up to the right level. And then we're going to fill this in with some other things. Absolutely love this heuchera. So we definitely want this heuchera in here. And that's going to pair great with this lemon cypress. So just by adding those two colors, you get this bright lime green chartreuse color with this dark maroon burgundy. And then what else could we put in there? Let's see, I've got a lot of different things. I think I might do a pepper. So I'm thinking this kind of pretty yellow pepper here, just for some added color. So just like that, we created a great container. Now, I would typically plant this, but I've got all of these great colors. So now I've got the burgundy here, I've got another burgundy here. So I'm kind of trying to separate the colors, going with high contrast, and I'm always kind of looking over at my Croton to see those colors, that oranges, the greens, the burgundies, the yellows. So looking for all of those different colors. Then I've got this other great container, which I think I might just put, let's see, I thought I had, oh yeah. I've got this great big pepper here. So this is a huge pepper, lots and lots of little white blooms on it. And then it's got all these little yellow peppers all over it. So now we've added in some yellow and some white. We've got the yellow paired here. We've got the two burgundies and then the orange. And then of course we've got more containers. So let's put this one, just kind of constantly looking at the screen to see if y'all can see everything. Got this container. So now we're starting to get everything grouped together. I also love to stack pumpkins. So stacking pumpkins is really, really easy to do. What you're typically looking for is a flat top. So somewhat of a flat top to start with. Try not to typically go more than 5. I'm going to do 3 here. So let's see if you can see this. This is kind of this really cool kind of grayish colored pumpkin. Typically I might cut the stem off, but because I'm going to put this back out on the sales yard, I don't want to cut the stem off right now, but I would probably cut the stem off a little bit lower just so it doesn't get in the way. But this one's nestled down in there pretty well. I don't think it's going to get in my way. Let's see, can you see that? You can kind of see it. What's getting in the way? This is. There we go. Then I've got this white. So again, I'm working off of high contrast, looking for those really, really contrasting colors. So I've got this great white pumpkin. It's really, really nice and flat too. Create that different layer. White pumpkins are a great thing to use on the front porch and patio because they really add a lot of color. They really brighten up a shady location. So if you're using your front porch and you get a lot of shade, then the white pumpkins are really going to stand out. And then on the top, I'm going to add this last one. This is really cool. This is kind of like a very monotoned orange or almost a salmon color. But again, looking for that really, really nice contrast in colors. And there we go. A lot of people might say glue them together, put a rod down through them. Anytime you glue or you put a rod through them, you're probably shortening the lifespan of how long these pumpkins are going to last. So I really look for the pumpkins that are going to be able to stack on top of each other pretty well. If I see high winds in the forecast, I might go take them down and unstack them. But it's a great way of adding some height, some different look, and there's lots and lots of different choices for pumpkins. So if we don't deadhead, will the peppers reseed? They can, but typically you're not going to have major issues with that. If you're using your ornamental peppers in the landscape, then yeah, you might get a little bit of that here and there, but nothing that's going to overtake your yard, so nothing too much to worry about there. Just like if you grow a vegetable garden and some of your peppers at the end of the season or your tomatoes typically fall, you might get one coming back here and there, but it's not going to be like an overtaking of your yard, so you don't have to worry about that too much, Gary. So now we're just going to keep on grouping. We're going to keep on adding some pumpkins to this mix. So I could add my birdhouse if I wanted to. I don't know if you're going to quite be able to see that. Kind of blocks my stack of pumpkins there. But you can kind of see it down the bottom of the screen. Let's see, what else do I need? I need more pumpkins, that's for sure. And I've got a lot to choose from. So I got this huge bin here full of pumpkins. Let's see if I can start adding these around. Got my pie pumpkin. I love the pie pumpkins. I know you're going to start to not be able to quite see all of this. So let's see if I can pull everything back just a little bit so we can really see all this stuff. Now what I love about the pie pumpkin is it's got this great stem to it, that long stem, and then you get these gourds that can kind of wrap around it and you can stack it right on top. Very, very easy to do. You can do the same with your pumpkin. Adding some of these white pumpkins to the mix really helps add some contrast and color. Putting them in containers, dropping them all over the place. And the more and more you do it, and the less you think about, the better off it's going to be. So we're just going to keep on adding some of this stuff. Just keep on putting it on, and you really can't mess it up. And then with a bale of wheat straw, which I, of course, let me get this back under here. Of course, a bale of wheat straw would be great on the front porch, but pair it with your corn stalk. Take a couple ears of corn off and use them around in your containers. Let's see if we can get this down in this mum pot. I don't know if it's big enough. But then all we're doing here is just adding more and more color to it. So we've got our corn, we've got our corn stalk. If you had a bale of wheat straw, you can use birdhouses. Throw a garden flag into the mix. So I could take my container. I love this one because it's kind of got a little bit of the bluish tones to it. But I could hang up a garden flag, my wreath on my front door, and you've got yourself a great look here. Super easy. Didn't take a whole lot of time. If I planted this up, it might take a little bit longer. But just take some terracotta pots, group them together, and you can get this amazing look in no time. Just get some stuff together. Pick out what you like. It's really easy. Don't think about it too much. If you need help, that's what we're here for at McDonald Garden Center. So just ask us any questions anytime. We can help you develop any of those containers. If you're looking to plant up a fall mix, we can talk to you about all the different types of plants. Some that will transition straight into the winter season and continue to grow for you, or continue to look good for you, at least during that winter time frame as we transition into Christmas. But give yourself a great fall time and a great fall look. Very easily adding lots of different textures and colors. There's so many different choices, so many different pumpkins to choose from. You can go crazy just with pumpkins. But throw in some textures, throw in some perennials, some shrubs, some corn stalks. Really easy look. If you came and made a scarecrow this weekend with us at our scarecrow event, Make a Scarecrow event, then you can add your scarecrow to the mix, and you've got yourself a great fall display right on your front porch. Very easy to do. So hopefully you can get creative around your home this fall season. I hope you all enjoy this. I hope you got some great tips and tricks out of this. Very easy. Don't think about it too much. Just go have fun with it and enjoy the nice cooler temperatures that we're going to experience here soon. And if you don't have any questions, I will see you next week. All of you have a great day. Enjoy the weather. We hope to see you soon here at McDonald Garden Center. Thanks, everybody. Reach over. Bye, everybody.